Welcome viewers to the Personal Injury Law Show. This is the original and only show that talks about injuries in Victoria. My name's Tony Carbone. I'm a personal injury lawyer of over 25 years experience. With me tonight I've got John Carancis, a partner at a law firm in WorkCover.
Hi Tony, hi viewers.
And also Don Maffei, a partner in a law firm in transport accidents.
G'day viewers, g'day Tony, g'day John.
Anyway, viewers, tonight we'll be talking about a number of issues, but firstly we're going to look at some articles in the news. John, there's this story about cocaine surgeons remaining at work. At the Western Health, there's 3 surgeons that have admitted to taking cocaine, not at work, that's what they say, not at work.
Well, that's what they say, Tony, but this is an unbelievable story. 3 surgeons have confirmed that they've taken cocaine and they're still working, Tony. This is unbelievable.
Don, if they were taking cocaine whilst they're operating, surely it would have to affect their faculties.
Well, you would think so, Tony. You think operating under the influence of any drugs, even alcohol, because alcohol is a drug too, Tony, can affect their ability to properly operate, or particularly in those circumstances.
And this opens the door up to liability of not only the surgeon, but of the hospital, doesn't it, Tony?
Well, a couple of them have been banished from Western Health, but they've gone off to work in other hospitals. What do you do with these people? I mean, do you actually... do you ban them from practicing? I don't know. What's the
I
answer?
think it's rehabilitation. You have to go down that path, Tony.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's an obligation on the hospital to report these staff to the board, to I think the Health Services Commissioner, about these type of abuse, cocaine, alcohol, anything like that.
Yes.
I want to move on to another story of a fellow who lost his arm working at a one of these places where...
Abattoir?
Abattoir.
An
Yeah.
abattoir, yes.
It didn't have a cutout switch.
Tony, it's a shocking story. Jared Croft, he's lost his right arm. The machine he's working on at an abattoir did not have a cutout switch. If it had a cutout switch, his arm would not have been trapped in the machine. He has unfortunately lost his arm now. He's got a young family. He's going to be living this for the rest of his life.
And Don, what happened was this: he put his hand in the machine after he'd switched it off, but then it came back on again. So this is a cut-off switch John's talking about. The company was fined $100,000. Is that adequate?
Oh, not adequate. I mean, you can't put a price on the loss of an arm, Tony. And the whole kill switch or cut-off switch will be very inexpensive equipment to have.
And not only is it inadequate, the fine, Tony, the company may go into liquidation. Again, the company's going to get away scot-free.
John, the company's gone into liquidation.
Exactly.
So
they're not going to pay it at all.
I mean, this was a very horrific ordeal for him. I think he had to, whilst his hand was stuck in the machine, he had to reach over and use his other hand to switch it off.
This is something close to my heart, viewers. Migrant work abuse is rampant. Now, Don, what they're saying here is that you've got these migrant workers that don't understand their rights. Their English is pretty poor, and they're getting treated like absolute...
Yeah, blatant abuse.
Yep.
Look, everyone's got rights, obviously, regardless of if they're migrants or not. But obviously, it's not information that's readily available to these people who are working, don't know their rights, may not speak English, may not have any command at all, just come from another country, and all they want to do is make an earning.
We've got employers, Tony, that are taking advantage of the new Australians. They're taking advantage of people that can't speak English properly. They just need to work and earn a good day's living. We had a situation not long ago whereby a company was fined $100,000 because they were underpaying a migrant worker. It's inexcusable.
In fact, it was rampant in that employment situation, John. Everyone that was working for them was getting underpaid. Yeah. And once they said we're going to take it to Fair Work Australia, I think they got sacked. Exactly. But look, the thing with the migrant workers they've got to understand is this: they should ring up a lawyer, even if it's discreet, to get some advice, because the employers aren't going to know about it until something actually happens.
You need to complain, viewers. If you're a worker and you feel like you're either being underpaid or you're being abused and underpaid, you need to do something about it. By acting in silence, nothing will occur.
And a lot of the information is available in different languages as well.
Of course.
So like Fair Work Australia does have, on the website, for example, information in Vietnamese or in any other language. So the information's there, just got to obviously make those complaints, or else, like John said, if you don't make those complaints, then it will keep going.
And not only that, if they ring someone like us that doesn't speak the languages, we can get interpreters, and there's obviously avenues. There's means and ways.
There are avenues, yes.
Look, there's a sad story of the psychiatric system letting people down. There's a lot of cases here, examples of families that have had kids, family members that have gone to these psychiatric units for help, even though they were voluntary patients. There was an assessment made, they're sent home, and they commit suicide. I mean, this is definitely something that needs proper attention.
It's been going on for a while, hasn't it, Tony?
It has.
Ever since the system was deregulated by the Kennett government in the late 80s, early 90s, things have changed. Q cottages no longer exist. We've got a system now where if you've got a psychological problem, you're not institutionalised, but you're let out in the public. Well, that's all good and well. However, at the same time, there still needs to be care and
proper assessment
being taken, and that's not being happening, is it, Tony?
No. Don, these days depression, anxiety, psychiatric injuries seems to be rampant. I describe it as being rampant. What's your take on it?
Look, I'm with John on this. I mean, the stories that are put in the paper are just not people who are just walking out. These people have packed their bags, got their belongings, walked past some staff members and walked out. I mean, the system has obviously failed these people, and there has to be a better system. Now, it doesn't mean more people, more staff, or whatever it is, these things shouldn't be happening to them.
Well, I had a case recently. I'll give that example just after the break, because we've got to go to a break, viewers. So please stay tuned. We'll be back shortly.